Hi everyone, this is Hillary Ellers and I'm coming to you from Lightwork Studio. We're continuing our lessons on reincarnation. So we've been talking about ways that memories come to us, and we really said it's not remembering because it's not in the past, so I'm already using the wrong language for you. It's hard to stay in the now with everything. So we are talking about ways that we can become aware of our other lifetimes. And I want to move on to the next way that some of my awareness of other lifetimes came to me. The first time I ever smoked marijuana, I was 30 years old. And as I relaxed without any prompting, I began to see a procession. One figure after another floated by me, and I realized that these were images of other lifetimes I have had, or I am having. I keep working on it. I was, or I am, let's say this, I am in another track of time. A tall, thin, sinewy, dark-skinned man. And I have a turban and long robes, and the wind was pushing my robes. They were flapping around my legs. And I was holding, or I am holding in this other life, the reins of a heavily laden camel. And the camel is walking beside me, and we are part of a long camel procession. We're moving across big, now I'm forgetting what they're called, those dunes. We're moving across these big sand dunes that are rippled from the wind. I have a very serious expression and almost a scowl, and it seems as though what I'm most interested in is staying safe, keeping myself safe and my camel safe. Next, I saw myself as a young Egyptian woman, and I was on a barge with two older women who were traveling with me, and we were moving along a wide, smooth river. I was very elaborately dressed. My hair, makeup, jewelry, clothing, it's all very elaborate. And I was looking out at the scenery moving by, but I wasn't really seeing anything. I was so sad. We were on our way to taking me to meet my husband to be, an older man that my father wanted to have an alliance with, and the man that I truly the man that I truly loved, I was having to leave behind. And I was just, again, a lot of feeling and emotion. The next figure that appeared for me, I was this plump, short, little Japanese woman. And I was dressed in a finely made kimono with expensive silk shoes and stockings. And at my waist, I had a heavy circle of keys that hung and pulled at the fabric they were attached to. I realized that in this lifetime, I am busy, hardworking, efficient, organized, and smart. Do you like that? Oh, me. I was helping my husband by running several of our small, successful businesses. And I felt that I was doing a really good job at what was going on at that time. Now, I hope that you can realize that you don't have to get stoned to remember, or to not remember, but be in touch with other lives. But anything that helps you move into an altered state can help you touch other lifetimes. I think all of us have had many, many lifetimes, probably hundreds of lifetimes. Sometimes people have a hard time imagining that many lifetimes. Maybe we have even more than hundreds of lifetimes. It would be far too much to carry all that information. You know, I think it's sort of a protection to us, or maybe kind of a blessing to us, that we don't have to know all that, not all at once. Of course, when we change levels, I think we have more access to all that information. But from another level of consciousness, our consciousness is much broader, it's much bigger, it's more spacious, and we can hold more information and awareness than we do or are comfortable doing in the physical dimension. You know, our physical brains, I've said this before, but our physical brains are a computer to help us stay in touch with the physical plane or dimension, our brains. And that's the purpose of our brain, I feel. So, what do you do between lifetimes? Let's look at that a little bit. It's interesting. I mean, people have all kinds of imaginings about what they consider heaven or hell. First of all, may I say, in my belief system, there's no hell. No hell. There's no way. There is no hell in regards to there being a place of eternal punishment. Now, people are in hell. They don't have to be dead to be in hell. And in that way, hell is a kind of place of suffering. And so we certainly are capable of being in hell, but we are never sent to hell. We are never put in hell. And we certainly never, ever have to stay in hell. Hell is a misunderstanding of how to work with our own energy. And once you understand whatever you're not understanding that causes you to be in hell, just like that, I can't snap my fingers for some reason, but imagine. I'm snapping my finger. We're right out of hell. So, in a way, hell is our own creation, definitely. Now, when you are on the other side, what about heaven? I don't really believe in heaven the way most people do. But I want to say I had a very powerful experience with my best friend who died. And she died about 5 days to a week after this experience I'm going to tell you about. She and I used to like to go on rides And we had a third woman who was a really good friend of ours, and the three of us did a lot together. And we would travel up in the mountains, and my friend was Judy, and Judy loved to drive, and I hate to drive, so, and I'm not safe, particularly as a driver, so I always turn the wheel over to anybody who'd like it instead of me. We went to a beautiful lake near Atlanta, and we were setting out that day on picnic tables, and we weren't sitting right by each other. We were sitting a few tables apart. There was no one else around. It was very quiet. The weather was just so beautiful that day. It was one of those days that it's not too hot, not too cold, not too windy, not too bright, not too dark. I mean, it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. And the energy of the lake, you know, we were right by the water, was with us, and it was a very big energy and a very, very comforting energy. So as we sat there, I know I felt so deeply comfortable, and I felt completely fulfilled. There was nothing I wanted, nothing I needed, nothing I was wondering about. I was just taking in the energy and enjoying it. I was literally being fed by the energy. And afterwards, she told me the same was true for her. She was we weren't talking, we were being quiet. And we were quiet for a long, long time, maybe several hours. And she said she was going through exactly the same experience. Well, she died within a week after that. And in looking back at that time together, I feel that we were literally touching into the energy of the afterlife. I really believe we were. I believe that we were feeling what it feels like to go to the other side of life. And that's comforting for me, you know, that I feel I've had a glimpse of the other side, and it was very wonderful. You know, they often say that people who have near-death experiences don't want to come back. You know, they often say, no, don't make me go back. I can see why, if their experience was similar to that. So, when you have these deep, deep experiences of the afterlife, know that they're possible for you to have, they're available for you to have. And what I want to suggest is that you just relax into them. I think what helped us that day, Judy and I, is that we weren't talking, and we were both deeply, deeply relaxed. I don't think I was exactly meditating. I was right with the here and now, like I was looking at the lake, I was looking at the trees, I was enjoying the beauty of nature, and yet I was deeply, deeply relaxed. And remember, that deep state of relaxation is what can take you into an altered state. So when you are on the other side, I think you have a wonderful experience. Unless you are very, very, unless you are wrestling, that's how I'll say it, with some part of your life that you've left, I think you have a deep peace. When you're wrestling with some part of your life, that probably is your hell. And when you can accept whatever has been or what is, you can move out of that suffering into that peace that is available. And I believe there are people on the other side of life that are helping people who have passed over. And if you are not at peace, I think those people help us. Sometimes people don't realize they've died. Whenever I travel on the inner planes, like if I'm meditating and I go out into other dimensions, they are on some level very similar to the earth. I mean, it looks a lot just like the earth, except it's prettier. The places I've seen are prettier. They are, sometimes I've looked around on the inner and I'll see that I don't see any decay. You know, like there are no dead leaves on the bushes or trees or plants, or the weather's great. I mean, it's really, places I've been are really nice. They're really enjoyable. And I can see how people could be confused about whether they've died. A lot of times people don't expect anything to happen after they die. Some people believe they're up like poof, like a puff of smoke or something, and that they don't exist anymore. So when they do experience something, it probably is confusing to them what's going on. When you're on the other side, you not only have helpers that help you adjust to the other side, but you have a closer connection with your high self and with your inner teachers, and they come near you and they begin to help you look at the life you have just left, the last life you experienced. And they help you look at what you might think of as the victories. They help you look at what you might think of as the failures or losses. They help you really make an assessment of the life you're coming out of. And through that assessment, they help you plan your new life that is coming. And you begin to make choices about actually circumstances that may help you grow, and you want to bring them in to your new life. People you want to connect with again. You arrange to have relationship with them again, or new people that may be important to you. But your life is planned out, and you set a blueprint for the new life before you're born. Then you begin to look for circumstances like a family, a bloodline, certain talents and attributes or problems you'll encounter through your genetics. All of that is very carefully chosen. And there is no mistake made in that plan. You may think, oh my God, I know I ended up in the wrong family. Guess what? You did not. We might like to think we did, but nope, you didn't. So, you have your plan, you pick your family, you have the opportunity to come into a body. Your mom is pregnant, and you enter. And people, I think, enter at different phases. Some people enter probably pretty early in a pregnancy. Some people, it is said, do not come into the body until even a little after they're born. And so it varies. Now, you know, I believe that not only do you pick and choose from your own assortment of experiences, you know, and you look at your strengths and your weaknesses, not just from your most recent life, but from all your lifetimes. Because when you're on the other side, your teachers are helping you, you can have access to that. So you look at the whole kit and caboodle of who you are, what you're about, and you pick and choose some strengths, but also it's super important to choose some weaknesses so that you can work on them and grow. If you only brought in your strengths, you really wouldn't grow very much. One time I was extremely depressed. And what I'm going to tell you now ties in with what I believe happens. You can not only pick and choose from your own assortment of strengths, weaknesses, abilities, and all of that. You can pick up from the collective certain things that you can work on that are left in the collective by other people. And we talked about that in our lesson on the collective and the individual. So this is a time I want to tell you about when I was probably the most depressed I've ever been. I was so depressed, I had no energy, I had no motivation. I mean, bathing and eating, you know, was really hard for me. I was that depressed. And I ended up deciding that I would have a bodywork session with a woman I knew. And she did a type of healing work to classical music. And it was sort of like, da, 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 you know. She would work on your body in the rhythm of classical music. And so I made this appointment and the work began. As my session proceeded, I felt really discouraged because it didn't feel to me like anything much was happening. I mean, it always feels good to be touched, but you know, beyond that, I wasn't really experiencing much. And then she got to my neck. And when she started working on my neck, the floodgates opened, let me tell you. And all of a sudden, I experienced myself as this tall, broad-shouldered man walking down a cobbled street. And the cobbles were, you know, pretty pronounced. And I was dressed beautifully. I had on very expensive, comfortable clothing. It was winter, but I felt warm and comfortable and cozy inside my garments. In that vision that I had, and it was more than a vision, it was really an experience I was living. I met with two different men. We had this elegant dinner, fancy, crystal, silver, everything. And then this horrible experience happened. They murdered me. And I couldn't escape. And I was so furious. I was so angry. I kept thinking they had outsmarted me, and I was furious. And I had this thought, if I could only contact the Tsarina, she would save me. Well, I died. And at the very end of my experience, this is what I was told. Study the life of Rasputin. I wasn't told I was Rasputin. I was told, study the life of Rasputin. So I have. And I have come to believe that I probably was not Rasputin, but that I brought some of his memory in with me. I brought some of his feelings in with me. And I think I brought them in perhaps to feel them, to help him release his anger or whatever he went through in his death. I believe I took that on to help. Well, after I had this bodywork session, my depression lifted. I was fine. I felt good again. And I'll never really know, well, that's not true. I don't know right now. That's what I should say. I don't know right now if I was Rasputin, but I've told you what I believe about it. It just doesn't feel to me like I was Rasputin, although, and he wasn't the bad guy everyone thinks he was. In my studies of him, of course, I might say that if I'd been Rasputin. So know that we are always working toward growth and advancement. And not only do we work toward our own personal growth and advancement, we work toward the growth and advancement of the collective. And that's what I was doing, I think, at that time. So I'm going to stop here. I hope this is interesting. I hope it stirs up some thought you have about yourself. Take care now. Write about it. And bye. Bye-bye. Find yourself now stepping into your physical body more completely. You've probably been hanging out thinking a lot. Now I'm inviting you just to feel your body. Feel how your body is feeling and what your body is feeling. Begin to allow yourself to be aware of your breathing. And just feel how good it feels to breathe. Every incoming breath brings a soothing wave of relaxation through your entire body. Every outgoing breath is carrying with it all of the tension of the day, all out and away from you. Feel the inflowing of relaxation. Feel the release of tension. As you move into this deep state of relaxation. Know that there are many things now you have access to because you are so deeply relaxed. Now imagine that you are free to view your entire life. You are free to view your entire life. And choose any event in your life in which you feel you made a large mistake. Just choose any event. Which you feel is a large mistake. And just look at that mistake, look at what happened. Be aware of what you may regret. What you wish that you could change. And now be aware in your imagination that that mistake is helping you move to a place of much greater awareness. Just let yourself see. Maybe almost like floating in water and the current of that water, which is the mistake, is pushing you toward much greater awareness. Let yourself see this. Let yourself feel this and breathe into this. Allow yourself to experience what you might have missed without this mistake. Breathe deeply and give thanks for this awareness, and know that this awareness will grow. And just feel the heaviness of this lifting. Feel it literally evaporating from your mind and your body. Feel the heaviness evaporating from your feelings. Give thanks for this awareness and know that it will continue to grow. And now begin to return, bringing with you all that you have experienced. Begin to return to the safe harbor of your body, the safe landing that you can anchor yourself in. Return to your physical body. Please write about this, and please return to this experience and let yourself spend more time with it. Take care now. Oh, I want to remind you of something. Please send me some questions. I really want them. Send them to me through my email, and my email is listed at the very front of the lesson. So if you will, send me questions. I will appreciate it very much. Take care now. Bye.